Okay. Um, God, thank you for allowing everybody to be here safely. Please let everybody make it home safely. Lord, thank you for allowing us to be able to see our retreat pictures, which are very funny. And thank you for everybody here, because some of them are great. Amen.
All of them are great in their own way. Thank you for praying for me. Yeah, I know. All right. So, who remembers the scripture? Anybody? The scripture, what it was? Does anyone? Just what verse was it? Proverbs? Look at that. My boys know. Proverbs 12:15. Does anybody remember what it says? Proverbs. You know what it is? What is it? Wow, round of applause for that. What grade are you in? Wow, so my message is about learning from your elders, people older, but apparently some of y'all 8th graders could learn from the 6th graders because he just put you to shame. Yeah. It is going to come up. There we go. Yeah, the way of the fool is right in his own eyes, but he who listens to counsel is wise. Depends on the rendition you're reading. All right, so we're going to talk about something called Step Ahead Mentors, or elders, or mentorship, or whatever you want to call it. So you guys might be like, well, what exactly does that mean? So we're going to have a few cinematic examples. So who knows who that is? That is not Dumbledore. Nice try. Gandalf and Frodo. That's Adam. Adam, I don't think you look like that. I'm sorry. His feet aren't quite that hairy yet. Yeah, so Frodo had Gandalf. No. Frodo looked to Gandalf for advice, for wisdom, for guidance, or for some of the older people, Karate Kid had I don't actually know, it's Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi, that's how you say it. Yeah, so he trained him. He made him do really obnoxious things over and over and over. Thanks, guys. There's an old Karate Kid and a new one. If you ask the old people, the old one's better. If you ask the young people, the new one's better. You're old at heart. And then finally, Luke Skywalker had Yoda. I appreciate that. That's sad. No, Luke Skywalker, he had Yoda. Yoda was there to mentor him, to teach him. And this example kind of just shows that. I'm going to wait. Ladies in the back. I don't know y'all's names, I'm sorry. So Yoda was only in Luke Skywalker's life for a short amount of time, but he was able to teach Luke Skywalker a lot. And the reason that he was able to do that is because Luke Skywalker is willing to listen and willing to learn. So that can go for you guys. You may only see us leaders once a week. Maybe if you're in Mel's group, you might see them more often because Mel's awesome. But for the most of us, you only see us once a week. But the amount that you can learn from us is up to you guys and how much you're willing to listen and absorb. Question?
No, it's not a question.
Statement.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna say this. So he goes to training for Yoda, but then he's like, no, I gotta go save my friends. So then he leaves and he doesn't listen to Yoda, and then he doesn't finish his training. So that's not a very good example.
But did he learn anything from Yoda?
I mean, he learned a few things, but after that,
See? It's all up to how much you're willing to listen. Imagine if Luke was willing to listen to Yoda, how much more Luke would have learned.
I mean, I guess.
Plot twist.
See the plot twist again. I wasn't listening.
If Luke was willing to listen to Yoda, or if you guys are willing to listen to us as leaders, imagine how much more you would learn and how much more you would know. All right, just because I believe in repetition, again, the scripture is, fools think their own way is right, but we're wise to listen to others. I like this. I think it's a pretty straightforward proverb. I think sometimes, proverbs or just the Bible in general can be kind of confusing, and you're looking at a verse or a passage, and you're like, God, what are you trying to teach me here? I just don't understand it. It's a bunch of words and, little seeds that you put in the ground, and I don't get it. Thank you. But God is just saying, don't be a fool and think that you're always right, but listen to others because there's wisdom in what other people have to say. So last week we talked about being stronger surrounded by friends. We're stronger when we're not alone. There's strength in numbers. Does anybody remember what last week's verse was? Leaders, do you guys remember? I'm going to be really impressed if you do. I do, because I wrote it. It's Proverbs 12:26. The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. Now you're going to remember. And guess what? Next week, when I speak again, I'm going to ask about the last 2 weeks. Keep that in mind. And no, there's no prizes. I'm not as cool as some people who give out candy. Yeah, you have to hear my voice again. Maybe I'll just speak every week just for you, Robert. All right, so let me ask you this. Who here has younger brothers or sisters? Okay, keep your hand up when I ask these questions. Who babysits? Who volunteers in the children's ministry? Who volunteers in the children's ministry? So after those 3 questions, most people's hands are up. Who has ever noticed that people who are younger than you are kind of always think that they know everything? Look at that. You guys, it's something that we can all agree upon. This might be a first. Yeah, exactly. So how do you think that us as leaders feel when you guys all think you have life figured out? Stuck in the what? I wasn't even born in the 80s. I was born in 92. I'm 90s. I'm not that old. I'm not that old. I'm 24. Shane can do math. Congratulations. All right. So sometimes it might seem, according to them, that they already know what you're going to try to tell them before you say it, which is in false fact because you're not clairvoyant, which means you can see the future, which is why it's important to listen. You're not clairvoyant. What am I going to say next? What's my next slide? Exactly. So we all struggle with being a know-it-all. And at your current age, you might think that you have life figured out. You're going to school. You got your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You have grades, whatever. But I hate to break it to you, you don't. You don't have life figured out. But remember this. Nobody else your age does either. And honestly, nobody my age does. And if we're going to be really wild, nobody that is Mark's age has their life figured out. We don't talk about people that old. Whatever age you hit, you're always going to think you have life figured out until you hit the next age, and then you're going to go, oh, maybe I don't. I like to think that age-based knowledge is irrelevant in a sense, because what you think you know now isn't what you're going to think next time. Yes? When you die and go to heaven. So the truth is this. We don't know everything. You kids don't know everything. Us leaders, we don't know everything. Even though Mark's been around since Yoda's time, Mark does not know everything. We always like to think that we have life figured out till we look to the past. Who here? Camden. Who here has heard of the saying, hindsight is 20/20? I don't really like that because I have 2013 vision, which is better than 2020, so my hindsight's even better. But hindsight is 20/20. That just means that when you reach the next point in life and you look backwards, you're going to be like, wow, I shouldn't have made that decision. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have treated this person that way. What? Yeah, well, Doctor Who's not real. You know who is real? Jesus is real.
Well, Jesus should make us the TARDIS.
Question. Shh. Hey. Just because a student is asking a question doesn't mean you all get to talk. If you have a question, you can respectfully raise your hand and I will call. Question.
Lectures.
Students, all right, she said students think they know everything because adults like to talk a lot and give lectures.
Yeah, because you listen whenever an adult gives you a lecture.
Yeah, when's the last time you guys actually listened to me?
If I had a
Sometimes I think I might have better luck if I just put one of those tall girl mirrors here and I just sat here preaching to myself and I'd be like, wow, I'm getting a lot out of this message, you guys. Question. It's a statement. What is it?
I don't know the answer to that. Because there's like this thing, and it's called like my mental age test, and it actually tells you how old you are based on how you answer these questions.
Well, you know what? Google Images didn't have that along with it. Guess what? We're skipping it. All right. So, where is wisdom? In your brain. I like that. That's funny. Who knows? That's not true. That's a false. That's Hollywood being wise. Who knows who Socrates is? Socrates. Some people do. Do any of the girls know who Socrates is? Y'all aren't very philosophical then. Of course Mel does. All right, so Socrates said, the only true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. So Socrates might not be from the Bible. He might not even be Christian. I don't know. But he wasn't speaking on biblical principles, but if you apply it to biblical principles, I think it's still very applicable. When it comes to God and the Bible, we don't know that much. You guys are young enough to where, 5 years ago, you might not even have known how to read the Bible, really. I've only been a Christian for 4 years or so. Mark's been a Christian for a long time, but when he's 20 years older than he is now, he's going to look back and be like, wow, I didn't know what that meant or how this applied to my life. And we're going to think that every single year that we get older, we're going to think, wow, didn't know that last year. Wow, hadn't read that last year until you die. And then you go to heaven if you accept Jesus into your life. All right, somebody new. Who can remember what the verse was? We're working on repetition. What was the verse of the night? Shh, you didn't raise your hand. Fool, yeah. You forgot? Yeah.
Okay, so it's like Proverbs something, and it's like fools think they're right, but like the wise ones are like, no, I'm not right. Yep.
That's close. She said fools think they're right, and the wise one thinks something.
They know everything.
What is it? 12, 15. All right, we're all going to say it together. We're all going to say that together. On the count of 3. You guys ready? And if you don't do it, we're going to do it again. And if you still don't do it, we're going to do it again. Does that make sense? All right. Proverbs 12:15. 1, 2, 3. Fools think their own way is right, but the wise listen to others. Good job. Look at that. You guys all listened. You guys must be wise. All right, so when I read that, can anybody guess who I think of? No. Well, yes, but no. No. I think of a very dapper young man. Think of myself. Yeah, you like that? Engagement shoot. Someday y'all will be there. Robert said I look like a funeral picture. Thanks, Robert. All right. Let's stay on track quick. No more questions for a minute. All right. The reason I say that is because before I knew Christ, and still now, I'm not perfect, but before I knew Christ, one of my biggest downfalls, if you will, was my pride. I always thought I was right. I loved to argue with everybody. I didn't really care how it would make them feel or what the repercussions of that would be. I was right, you were wrong, and if you didn't like it, you could leave. And that's not a good thing to think. So if you look at relationships, isn't it adorable? Look at those hedgehog gloves. They're so cute. If you look at relationships, whether it's relationships with, guys, ladies, we got 8 minutes, and if I don't finish, y'all are staying late with me. Woo! Good thing no one has kids here. If you are in a relationship, whether it's a friend relationship or with another gender or whatever, if you are prideful in that relationship, it's going to harm that relationship. It's going to make them not feel well. It's going to hurt their feelings. For example, this is embarrassing. It's about myself, so bear with me. Courtney is sick, which is why she's not here. She has this flu, and she went to her internship today, listened to terrible things about little girls being abused, and then was like, hey, can I meet you before I go to youth group? And I was like, yeah, totally. And I got off work, and I may or may not have stopped at a park to catch some Pokemon. And then she looked at my location, and she's like, if you're catching Pokemon instead of meeting me, I'm going to be real upset. I didn't reply. I got in my car and started driving really, really fast. And I got there, and she just like doesn't say anything to me. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good. I was like, it's like 10 minutes. It doesn't hurt anything. Like 10 minutes is 10 minutes. Moral of the story, I thought I was right. I thought it was okay to stop, right? Like, whatever, it's 10 minutes, get over it. She didn't think so. I hurt her feelings. That is not good. I know, right? All these leaders in the back like, oh, he didn't do it. Yeah. My pride got in the way. My idea of me being right and me being in the okay ended up harming my relationship and hurting her feelings. If we look to school, when I was in school, I still always thought I was right. I thought the teachers didn't know what they're talking about. They don't actually teach you anything that you care about. You're not going to use it in life. And that actually hurt my grades because I didn't want to listen to what the Nates of the world were saying. I wanted to ignore it and say, no, I know what I'm doing. I got this figured out. Well, I didn't. And that's why I didn't do well sometimes. Or work. If you go to work when you get older and your boss says, hey, can you do this that way? And you say, nope, because I'm right and you're wrong and I'm going to do it my way. You're going to be looking for a new job. So post-salvation, after turning my life to Christ, I learned that if you learn to listen to others, you learn to learn. Who's he listening? He's listening to everybody. But no, learning to listen to others in order to learn more. All right, so where did you learn what you know? So let's take a look back. I know I took that while driving. Shh, don't tell anyone. So everything that you know, you learned it from somebody else. Whether that be from a TV show, from a teacher, from a parent, from a friend, from a mentor, from a pastor, everything that you know in your head was learned from somewhere else. So, point in case, listening leads to learning. Mark did, because Mark's a good guy. All right, so who do we learn from, you would ask? If you want to learn to dunk, you'd ask LeBron James. If you want to learn to spit rhymes, you look to Drake. If you want to learn how to write to songs that every teenage girl might relate to, you look to Taylor Swift. Oh, I look to Taylor Swift. All right. Bring it back. I need to learn that whistle. I'd use it so much with this microphone, y'all would be deaf. So what do these people all have in common? Not a lot, but what do they have? Micah. Okay, that's one thing. They're all older than you. Every one of those people is older than you, and every one of those people know things that you don't know, partly because they're older, partly because they're, superstars or whatever, but they're all older. They've all experienced things in life that you have yet to experience, which is why, again, Step Ahead mentors, people who have gone through life ahead of you have wisdom and knowledge that you don't have yet. So if we want to be better or stronger, or if we want to be more awesome at life, doesn't it make sense to listen to the mentors and the coaches that are in your life helping you navigate that life? We all need a trusted person who tells us the truth no matter what, not because they gain something in return, not because it makes them feel better, they can lead you astray, but because they want something better for us as a whole. Quick question. Got to keep going. She froze. Okay. So you might ask, who should your mentor be? And I have 3 simple questions. Are they a devoted follower of Christ? Will they help bring you either to Christ or closer to Christ, depending on where you're at? And will they help encourage you to make good choices? This person should be able to see how God has gifted you and encourage you to be who God created you to be. Now the fun part, the part I talked about earlier. So, application, where do I find this mentor? Oh, well, all of these leaders in here have been placed here by God. God has said, Nate, I feel like you have a calling to help lead youth. Caleb, even though you're in college, you're busy, you're working, I want you in Evergreen helping mentor these young children. Mark, even though you used to have hair and you don't anymore, we still love you. And we still want you to mentor. Nate, you got little glasses and big ears, but we still love you, man. Man, I can't wait for you guys to laugh at me. So I tried to find pictures closest to your guys' age, and Nate and Mark don't have a whole lot. I have a lot of pictures of myself. This is from, I don't know, around 9th grade. I figured if I was going to have embarrassing pictures of leaders, I had to have an embarrassing photo of myself. Or Mel. Look at that. Mel, how old were you there? 17. That's close. See? I tried. And then there's little Courtney. Oh, look at that brace face. So cute. All right, so God placed us, your youth leaders, in your life. I didn't find everybody. There's not enough space. To help lead you, to help you guys come closer to Christ. So just a really quick bit on my story. So when I first came, I know, I'm adorable. I'm a Harry Potter. It's okay. Y'all can look me up later on harrypotter.com. I have a scarf on. Why are girls so mean? Girls need to learn how to be nice. Ouch. I know. Girls are chattery today. All right. So that is me. That's my friend Brendan in the back. So when I first started coming around Evergreen, I didn't know a lot of people. I was very new to Christ. That's when I first found Christ. So Brendan was somebody that I was introduced to. We had very similar hobbies. We look kind of alike. We're both very scrawny and tall. And he just offered to kind of come alongside me. He kind of offered to experience Christ with me in that sense. We went through a book called Beginning in Christ. Yeah, Beginning in Christ. Thank you. And I just met with him every week, and we kind of talked about my story and where I came from. We talked about his story, where he came from, the similarities, the differences. We then talked about his kind of journey to his faith in knowing Christ. We talked about how I got introduced to Evergreen, where I was at. I wasn't very far yet, but he's like, that's fine. Let's read this together. Let's go through it. Let's meet weekly. And he is really one of the main reasons that I kind of am where I am. He was older. He came by me as a mentor, a peer mentor, so he wasn't a lot older. And we didn't meet for very long, but it took a lot out of it. So landing, we all have blind spots, areas in our lives that we don't see clearly and that we don't even necessarily exist. So when I first came to Christ, I didn't see my pride. I didn't recognize it as being an issue because I was prideful. Therefore, I thought I was right. And when you're prideful and you think you're always right, you don't see that you're ever wrong. The downfall of pride. Sometimes it's difficult to listen to what someone has to say about us. It can hurt us. It can make us cry. It can make us feel like they don't like us or they don't like a part of you, when in reality that part of you that they might have an issue with, isn't necessarily a part that you want to hold on to anymore. but it's hard to see it that way in the beginning. And sometimes it actually feels easier to go through life without allowing people to tell us what's up. Sometimes it's easier if, Mel's like, hey, Neil, I really have an issue with the way that you do this. It might be easier for me to say, nope, cutting Mel out, see ya. Or if Mark's like, hey, Neil, I think you're a little harsh on the guys. It'd be easier for me to be like, nope, I don't want to talk about it. Or if this guy's like, hey, you should wear a Santa hat, I'd be like, no way. I'm not being your friend anymore. He's so cool. But that's not going to help you grow. That's not going to help you learn. That's not going to help you become more of a Christian. Christian means little Christ. It means being and living your life as close to how Christ lived his. Now, obviously, we are human. We are not, the Son of Christ. We can't live a perfect life. But what we can do is we can live as close to his example as we can, right? We can recognize the things that are wrong in our life by what our friends, what our loved ones are saying to us, and go, okay, let me step back. Let me recognize that you're not mad at me, or that you're not like hating on the way that I live my life or the way I act. But let's recognize that as, okay, maybe I do treat people in a bad way. Maybe I do make fun of them. Maybe I do call them names. Maybe I do start rumors about people. And I step back and say, that's not nice. I don't want to be known as the person who starts rumors. I don't want to be known as the kid who sits in the back with his friends goofing off the whole time. Those aren't attractive attributes in life. You're not going to find a significant other down the road that goes, oh, I like her. She makes fun of people. She puts people down. Or, oh yeah, that guy? Yeah, he doesn't pay attention to anybody. That's so hot. Like, that's not something that you're going to encounter in life. You're going to find somebody going, wow, that girl, she's humble. She's kind. She's patient. Or that guy, the way that he listens to people who are older, the way that he can follow directions, the way that he humbles himself above or below others and puts other people ahead of himself. Like, those are the attributes. Those are the ways that you're going to move forward in life, that you're going to be more like Christ, that you're going to reach other people. Solomon once said, we'd be considered fools if we didn't ask for someone to coach us, because we're stronger and better when we let someone speak wisdom into our lives. Thank you.